What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tell Me More podcast presented by Major League Success. I have Emily Manley with me today. She's with the Manley Group at Emerge Real Estate Unlimited. Emily, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to jump on here with us to share your story. And actually, we spoke, we were just chatting a little bit offline. We spoke back right before or right when everything was going down with COVID. So it's been a little while.
We did that podcast. I was in my house for sure, in my living room. So yes, we were under quarantine.
Yeah, and it just feels like forever ago.
For sure.
So I'm really definitely interested, and we'll touch on it here in a little bit as far as kind of navigating those waters, especially as a real estate agent team, all of those things. But, I always like to start from the very beginning, background on growing up and, what was life like for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, first, thank you for having me again. I appreciate it. So, so growing up, I am a Central Ohio native. So I've always lived in the area, essentially. So I was born in Clintonville at OSU Hospital, not in Clintonville, but lived there. Then grew up in Upper Arlington until I was in fourth grade. My biological dad passed away when I was 5. So my mom remarried, and then we moved to Bexley. So kind of always been somewhere in Franklin County, mostly growing up. And then it wasn't until later on in my life that I'm now actually in Delaware County, but still in Central Ohio for sure.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So growing up, were you always kind of an entrepreneur at heart? Did you, sell things, or, were you playing sports? Kind of lead me up to going into college.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I would say I've always been kind of self-sufficient and kind of somebody that just wants to try everything on her own. I was the baby of the family, the last one of several siblings. Like I said, I have kind of a blended family. So I have steps, halves, and wholes. And I'm the baby of all of them. So I think I kind of have this ankle biter mentality, mostly because I am also short. So it's kind of just this feisty nature. I've always kind of had that. And, I want to try it. I want to do it. I can do it kind of attitude. So I started working, very early on. I got my training to be a babysitter, when I was probably 11 years old with the Red Cross, and babysat. I got a vendor's license when I was 14, I think, and scooped frozen lemonade for Dell's Lemonade at festivals. And I always came home with half my body with burnt and the other one not, just from standing in the same spot for hours. Yeah. I've always wanted to work and make my own money. And it's always been something that's really important to me.
Well, as the baby, I'm sure your parents just let you fend for yourselves at that point.
Oh, I know, right? They think we actually get so much attention. Honestly, I think they were well, she wants to do it, so we'll just let her take care of it, right? Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
No, that's awesome. So going into college, what did you end up going to college? Not going to get into the workforce?
Sure. Yeah, I did go to college. However, I didn't have a very traditional route. I went 1 year away to Kent State and did the dorm room thing, and it really wasn't for me. And so I came back to Central Ohio, and I worked and went to school. So it took me a little bit longer than 4 years, but I did get my bachelor's. I think I finally graduated in, I think it was 2007. So about one or 2 years extra, I think it took me to finish out. But I did get my bachelor's in business with a minor in human resources. So I do have that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So then going right from college, did you go into the career with a business degree? Obviously, that's a degree that's very universal, right?
Well, so what I was doing while I was in college was working for builders. So I started out working for Rockford Homes. I think I was 19 or 20, and I was in the models on the weekends for the sales reps, just trying to get appointments. I would get a bonus if somebody that if somebody that came in that I registered ended up writing. So I was
early on. Were you a rep, or were you just
I was a sales assistant.
Assistant. Okay.
Yeah. So as a sales assistant, I worked for, a sales rep who hired me to work like on his days off and stuff, and on the weekends
Okay.
he was busy. So I learned a lot
Okay.
of stuff from that. And then I also, shortly thereafter, I was asked by the corporate office at the builder I was working for to join in the back office. So they wanted me to help, process contracts, different things like that. I spent time as a design rep in the design center, helping people select colors for new construction homes. I processed paperwork, basically any error that was found in the contract, I found that and had to get it fixed. And, so I did all sorts of things within the building industry. I helped in the service department. So I worked there taking service calls after people closed. So I've seen lots of different, avenues and different parts of the building industry. And so I kind of had that as a backbone to a lot of my industry knowledge. And I got my real estate license while I was in college. I actually took each independent course, like each semester. I was like taking a course at Columbus State along with other classes that I was taking. So I, again, wasn't very traditional route. I held that license in escrow for many years with Rockford Homes, the company that I was working for at the time. They sponsored me for my license. And then it wasn't until I left the building industry in like 2013 that I actually started using my license.
So how did you get to Rockford? Did it just kind of fall in your lap?
Yeah, it was a friend of the family who had been working there. They couldn't work there any longer, and they wanted to replace that person, wanted a replacement, right? So I was like, okay, sure, I'll do it. So I kind of just, working at Rockford definitely fell into my lap. It was a friend who got me into the industry. She and I are still actually in the industry together to this day. So
is real estate something that you always had an interest in, or was it just, hey, this is a college, were you viewing it as just a college job to help pay for classes, bills, things like that?
So it wasn't really real estate that got me into real estate, right? I think that was just haphazard because I was working for builders and I was gaining all this industry knowledge. But sure. I actually went to college to be a nurse, right? Because I wanted to help people. So my background and all of this, right? The whole goal of me being an agent is really just helping people. I'm, providing a service, and I really get a lot out of that. It's a kind of addicting, so to speak, helping people genuinely, right. Like I have a genuine desire to see things through people's eyes and like show them that like I can be that person for them. So I think that, I realized early on that I don't really like blood very much. So the nursing thing wasn't going to work out. So the next best thing I think was real estate, honestly. Right?
Yeah, that was gonna be my follow-up question, is because typically, like, when I'm interviewing people, agents, there's different pivots throughout one's journey to getting into the business.
Right.
And the whole point of the Tell Me More podcast is to show other agents that there, or people looking to get into the business, that there's not one direct right path
Absolutely.
to finding success into this business, right? So, some people just jump right in. Some people, they have 2, 3, 4 different careers before they find real estate. And, some of those principles and practices and things that they've learned along the way are now applied into their business, which I find that, very often is.
I agree.
My follow-up question was, what took you away from the nursing, and it was just the blood, huh?
Right. It was definitely the blood. That was a problem. It wasn't going to work out. So I thought maybe being a teacher would be for me. So I spent some time thinking about being a teacher, but again, I have a drive, this entrepreneurial spirit to just like, I want more and more and more and more and more. And so I thought maybe that wouldn't be it for me, in a sense, for what I was looking for.
Sure.
I have mad respect to teachers, though. I could not do that job for sure. I definitely have to preface that. But I do think that, the route that I took in real estate also incorporates that, because I'm a mentor and I love that part of my job.
Yeah.
So I can help people and be of service like a nurse is, right? And then I can also train and mentor like an educator does.
Yeah, no, I love it. So you're doing Rockford, you're going to school, business, graduate, stay at Rockford?
I actually went to Ryan Homes for a time. Yeah. So I left.
Still in the builder space.
Yeah. So I left Rockford in 2008 and helped Ryan Holmes actually open up the Columbus division. So they came down from Cleveland, and so I was a handful of people that started the division there, and it was somebody from Rockford who had left there and had said, "Hey, I just found out you left. Do you want to come here?" And so it was, again, just kind of networking that got me into that position. And I did a very similar thing. I worked in the models, and then I also went to the back office. I was an office manager and kind of ran the whole office operation the first couple of years that they were here. So I've really just dabbled in lots of different parts of the industry. Yeah. But I think a lot of it had to do with, some fear though, too, doing that for as long as I did, not jumping into the full commission, the full working for myself environment. So yeah.
What made you come to the good side?
Well,
I had to throw that in there for all my builder reps.
Yes, absolutely. Right. I think it was a product of many different factors, and I was kind of, again, just pushed into it. So I had small children at this time. I was dealing with some personal issues when my kids were small. To be quite honest with you, I was dealing with postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And I also had an addiction to opiate pain medicine. So from a injury that I had sustained younger in life, and I think the combination of having the postpartum with this prescription mixed together, like I'm sure you've heard before, was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
And it was just it was really honestly because of that, I left the industry, and my husband, Dan, he was working full time as a chef. And I said, why not? Right. Yeah. I had gotten sober, went into recovery. I'm clean and totally off of that stuff for many years. But at that time I was like, you know what? I'm ready for something else. Let's do it. I have nothing to lose. Let's give it a shot. Right.
Yeah. Congratulations too on
thank
that.
You. Thanks. Yeah, I know there's plenty of people that do it. It's super hard though, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just, one day, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
So you make that move, that jump, you just need something different, something more, right?
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you made that, and it's always interesting, right? When you have spouse, it's not just like for me, I was 22 years old. Like at the time I was engaged to my first wife, about to get married, but we were broke college kids. It's not like we already had, a house, family, things already established. So for me, going from school to college to 100% commission job, or career, and I kind of had a bridge where I was an admin for Ryan for several months.
I remember that. Yeah.
But when you make that decision, doubters, supporters, kind of what was some of that conversation piece like? And then, I find some people are more motivated by the doubters, right, to try to prove them wrong. And some people need more of the love and supporters, and, you can get through it and all those things. I'm always just curious when you make that, it's really the family has to make that sacrifice when you make that decision. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I think there was definitely, doubters within the family. Also just within our social network, kind of like, oh, this is scary. Are you sure you want to do that? Most people don't do very well being an agent. I was, of course, remember, I told you from a very early age, I'll do it. I will do it, and I'm going to do it. So I've said that since I was a little kid. So absolutely, that was a driving force. I was going to show everybody that they had absolutely no idea what they were talking about, and that I had spent many years cultivating my knowledge, and I was going to come out of the ground I was going to hit the ground running super hard. And I did. I sold almost 30 homes the first year I was in real estate. So
30?
30, yeah. 30 homes. Yeah. So I know, right? Bravo. So it was, I was, I knew I could do it, but it was just a matter of finding it the right time, that made sense. And I really didn't, I had left the the building industry at that point. Husband was working full time. I had these little babies. Okay, let's try something from home and see if it works. And it worked too well. So well that I ended up, my husband left his career and is now working with me. So
yeah.
Yeah.
What how did you, I guess, were there things from Rockford and Ryan Holmes that you took and applied to your real estate business because you already had information on the industry?
Oh my gosh, yes. My whole sales process is frankly from Ryan Holmes. I mean, I had a mentor there. I pretty much talk about him anytime I'm asked about my real estate career, but Andy
That's
Molt.
Like me.
Yeah. Andy Molt is definitely my mentor. I think he's the sales manager at MI now, but no longer at Ryan. But he helped train me, among other 8, salespeople at Ryan Holmes. They have a very rigorous process. It took me like almost a year to go through the whole thing.
Wow.
So I contribute that a lot to my ability to convey the know me, like me, trust me with people. The open-ended questions, the building the rapport, and just the process of just discovery, all of that stuff. I've, been able to apply and then also share that knowledge with other people, to help them in their career. So
you said something there and I want to go back to it. You said it took almost a year.
Yes.
To really go through that sales training.
Yes.
And that's what I think, a lot of people don't understand. To get to that expert, mastery, whatever you want to call it. It's just not, meet a buyer and get them in contract. There's a process. Real estate is sales. It's not sales in the event of, if someone leaves the store, to go buy an iPhone, that they're going somewhere else to get the iPhone, and we got to close them like this, right? But I think that's super important. I think that's where, agents getting into the business, I think maybe they sleep on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Here you're going to a builder that's established, and it took you a year to go through that sales process.
Yeah, and it's because of the training. It's not because I wasn't ready. I mean, literally, they send you away for 3 weeks to other places to learn at the corporate office. Then you have to do, this demo day at the end of the year where it's, you're in front of all of your sales managers going through the model home from the very moment that someone walks in the door to the moment that you're closing them at the table about to, write paperwork. So it's so intense. It's very, very intense, but I passed. So
I bet you apply some of those things to the agents that you mentor.
Oh yeah, honestly, I apply it to pretty much anything. So what I can hear you saying is, I do that in like so many parts of my life. So just repeating.
What year was that when you decided to actually activate your license? And
that was the end of 2013 into 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of take me kind of on the journey of your first couple years, getting licensed. Obviously, you said you came out of the gate, did 30 transactions.
Yeah, that wasn't just because of my sphere. In fact, it was because I was being given online leads. So, and I just had a really great conversion ratio.
So did you join a team, or did you just?
I was at a very small brokerage when I first joined, or when I first joined the board, I guess, and started using my license. They had a program with realtor.com where they were buying leads and giving it to their agents. It was a small brokerage.
Yeah.
And I just did really well with those. I do well with meeting people off the gate like that, because my whole job at the builder is meeting people I don't know, that walk in the door for the first time. I have no idea who they are. So I just found that I was really good at that. And so I built my business the first couple of years just on online leads through realtor.com. I did it with them. I left that brokerage after about a year and moved over to eMerge at that time, and continued to buy leads for a little while there until I got to a point where, my sphere was cultivated and I was getting business simply from repeats and referrals. So,
yeah.
and that's where I am.
Yeah, I think, and I would assume, like you said, going back to the new build world, like I tell people, like, understanding the difference between like a Zillow or realtor.com type lead versus a Facebook or Google lead,
Oh
like
yeah.
there's a difference in that,
Oh,
right?
there's such a difference between all of them. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
some people are way better at the Zillow realtor type,
Right.
right? Where you literally have, like you said, someone's walking into a model. Hey,
Right.
I
It's a
got,
hand raiser. It's like,
yeah.
hey, like I love the hand raisers. I'm like, I got you. Here, let's go.
Yeah, it's like you got 5 minutes to
Yeah,
build that relationship,
exactly.
and to get them
Absolutely.
to trust you. And I want, again, a year of sales
Yes.
training, right?
It
To
takes time.
get
It takes
that part
time.
down.
Yes.
Um,
Same thing with my mentees. It takes them a solid year, sometimes more. Some of them are coming out of careers, and they're doing that transition like
yeah.
you talked about earlier. And so it's not unrealistic to think that it would take sooner than that.
So hitting the ground running, did you always just have success? Did,
Well, I
30
think
deals?
everyone deals with failures, right?
Yeah.
And hearing no and having to learn that. And, there was there was an online lead who I showed a home to. I remember this was the first time I really felt it in the gut. And it was an online lead that I didn't really have that great of a relationship with, right? But I showed them a home. And then I got a call from an agent that was like, hey, I'm sending you over my buyer's agreement. I'm their agent. Like, yes, you showed them the home, but I'm going to be writing the offer. And I just remember like, oh, punch to the gut. But it happens. It's just part of the process. You gotta hear the no's because you're gonna hear them way more than the yeses.
Yeah.
So, and but again, that's part of the learning process and learning how to manage your emotions with those. And, um, but no, we all go through that, right? Those sorts of failures and hearing no. And, I had a desire early on to create a team. I was like, oh, I'm doing so well with these online leads. Let's magnify that, right? Let's multiply it. If I'm doing so well, I can surely, help other people and get more leads. And it didn't work like that. I didn't do well with a team early on. I didn't really have a good plan in place. And I think I executed it way too early. And so that kind of fizzled out. And so the Manley group is really just truly Dan and I, my husband and I at this point, and I mentor people. So like, that's where I'm able to kind of pass on knowledge.
Yeah.
But no, I think we all run into failures and like trying different things and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. There's a million ways you can sell a home. There's a million ways you can run your business.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with that. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go back to just talking about the timeline of building the team? You mentioned that it probably wasn't the right time.
Yeah. I was very just kind of living in the clouds with that one. So,
yeah. Literally on my memories today for Facebook, it has a picture of me 3 years ago with trying to get my Florida license. And
got it.
What most people don't know is that Ryan and I tried to start Florida twice.
Right. It happens.
And it just didn't work out. And here's the thing: if you're not into it, if your heart's not into it, then you're just not going to be successful. But I'd like to talk about just kind of maybe being a little bit too early on the team thing. Kind of what did you learn, takeaways? Because I have that conversation now. I'm kind of like you. I like to mentor other agents, and some agents they come out of the gate selling real estate, being successful.
Right.
And in my opinion, just because you're coming out of the gate with that doesn't necessarily mean you're ready to lead other people.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a different personality. It's kind of like, I tell investors, there's a personality for buy and holds and there's a personality for flipping.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It depends on what do you want.
What's your goal? Yeah. What's your, what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what I didn't do. I did not really set like a business plan or a goal or like the purpose. So like, what's my purpose with this team? Like, what am I truly trying to do with this? Right. Yeah. I didn't have that, and if you can't answer that question, I think you are absolutely nowhere near to just, that you should start a team at all. Like you shouldn't do that. So, I was just, like I said, I was just like real excited because I had the early success. And, I was telling all my, these people, oh, come get your license, do this, do that, meeting people in the network. Oh, come join me. And so I built a team of, a handful of people. without really having systems and processes in place. It was just kind of a pie in the sky idea. And so I do try to share that with people. I share anything. I think it's important to be honest and transparent, right? Like, especially in this society, we show so much about like perfection online. And I think it's just so important to be real. So like, I'm an open book, truly. But yeah, so I think it was just truly I did not plan it out, the right way. I didn't have the right objectives.
Yeah.
It's something that you need time with.
Yeah. Here's something that I, picked up from my coach over the last year is, it's what problem do you want to solve for?
Yes, absolutely.
Problems never go away. They just change. Right.
Yep.
So, solo agent, right? What problem do I want to solve for? Well, I want more time with family. Okay, cool. Let me go get an admin. Right. Or let me go get a couple buyers agents or some agencies. Okay. That's great.
A problem, right? Like, it has to solve. You can't just like, oh, I want a team. Why?
Right. But even then, right? Okay. Well, now you got 4 people that you're responsible for. And now you got other problems.
And
right?
That is a whole nother stressor, right? Talk about, responsibility. People are always, oh, you're going to be a broker? No, not at all. My brokers, I have so much respect for them. I love them so much. I could never do what they do.
No, they can take my cap money all they want.
Yeah, exactly. I will be a good little workhorse for them.
Yeah, exactly. And again, personality, right? Some people want that,
right?
And other people
they have the questions that they want to solve. They have those problems that they want to solve. Like you were saying, they have a reason for it, and they can see that.
Yeah,
they can grow that, and they have a plan. All of those things are super important before you start a team. It's just like starting a business,
100%. And like you said, you didn't have a plan, you didn't have process, you didn't have systems, and the biggest thing,
what I had is excitement.
Well, and you had, hey, I have this success.
Right.
And everyone else should be able to have that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just and it's good to be positive and have, hope and all of those things. But also you have to be realistic too. So what things come with age and time, and sometimes you learn.
Yeah. So you go through all of that. When did Dan come in to the business?
So
when did you make that jump?
Right. Well, being successful with small children, that was another problem, right? That came into the picture after, he's a chef by trade. He went to school for that and has a degree in culinary arts, hospitality management. And, he's very good at what he did. He rose to the top of Cameron Mitchell restaurants as the exec chef in Cap City Fine Diner in Gahanna.
Yep.
But he's working like 70 hours a week. So it's really hard to maintain that level of success with small kids. And so there came a point where it was just like really clearly an imbalance, when you broke it down per hour to what he was actually bringing home. I mean, it was far less than the dishwasher,
Right.
So, his time was just so much more valuable at home and to the business. And, he's like a far superior parent than I am. I always tell everybody that. So he's like really needed at home for sure.
And I mean, at the same time, right? Like now you're having all of this success, right?
Sure. Yeah. And he is too. He's great at what he does. And he brings another element to, I'm sure people can ascertain I'm like a really lively character. I've got a lot of energy, and he balances me out, he balances the business out and the partnership out in that regard. So
any plans of growing the team again, or just kind of?
So when that happens, and it will happen at some point. I do see it happening. But again, it's going to be a long thought out process. And I'm not there because I truly love mentoring, and I'm really happy at eMerge doing what I'm doing here and helping them grow the brokerage. I believe in that. I believe in our company, and I believe in our brokers, and I really believe in the program that we offer here. So right now, I'm just kind of focusing any sort of mentorship energy in that bucket, because I could not see myself doing both. Like, I cannot see myself growing a team and mentoring at the same time. There's just absolutely no way I could do both.
Right. Right.
So that's, kind of where I'm at now. I think I said that even last time I was with you. Like, I'm just happy mentoring. I'm just going to do that for now.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that would be like a 5-year goal, would be like a team, would be, when you ask about goals, that would be like a 5-year goal for me.
Well, I mean, right now you kind of have,
We do.
really the best of both worlds, right? Like,
I was about to
you
answer
have, you have your business going on, right?
Yeah.
And with you and Dan, and then you have like agents that you are still responsible for, or you feel responsible for, right? For their
And I love
success,
that.
but you don't necessarily have the overhead, the
Mhm.
expenses,
Yes.
they still have to go and build their business. You're guiding them.
Exactly. I'm just kind of teaching them the way to build that business, because it is so important to have a sphere, and starting that out, you can't really rely on just those online leads or just these cold leads to sustain you long term. So you got to have that sphere.
I'm a big believer. You have to have at least 2 business pillars, no more than 3.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that when they're related too, I think that's good. They got to be like in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah. I mean, like, some obviously social media, right? Like, we all want to do business through social media. Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That is to me, it's a separate business pillar, but it's still within your SOI.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Yeah.
But I talk about that all the time, and the fact, some people I talk to, they just I built my business solely on internet leads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not from here. I was 22 years old, but now over time, like as I grew that,
you have a huge sphere now, but
now it comes back, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about those. I'm sure you've done it. Like one of those first internet leads has come back around and sold with you, or gave you their daughter and their son, and you can like have a storyline.
I have several, I have several where it's been, 5, 6, 7 transactions. Not even counting some of the investors that I've gotten.
Right, absolutely. I like that right there alone is just, that's like the reason I do this, is because I really love helping people. And when they bring people back to you and refer and repeat, it's just like affirmation that you're doing a good job.
Yeah. And for you and I too, from the mentor side, right? If we can help others become successful, it's like, okay, yes. Right. We got that system down. We got the process down for them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be able to be duplicatable. And
you don't need to reinvent the wheel,
I tell you, I copy everything.
Me too.
Don't let me get my hands on your stuff because I'm copying it.
No, please, by all means. I literally tell everybody, like, if you see something you like, take it. So
I'm just kidding. So I want to kind of move into the future. And I know you kind of gave a little hint earlier, but next 12 months, any big accomplishments that you're looking to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like kind of in the immediate future, I've really started to put some emphasis on the need to be more like, have more video content on social media. So within the next few months, I hope to see myself posting more video content on social media. And then maybe from there, I've been doing some social media advertising, just trying to keep business kind of within the Delaware County area, Olentangy markets, which is where I live. I sell everywhere. Obviously you do too.
Right.
Sure. But it'd be great to have a nice focus around, kind of generally where we live. So we've been focusing a lot of social media attention and advertising on that specifically. So hopefully within the next 6 to 9 months, we start maybe seeing a little bit more of a return on that. And, and then hopefully within a year, like we really do have plans for getting into the investment market. So we really want to buy our first investment property sometime in the next year.
You want 2 questions. What do you think is going to help you start shooting more videos?
So I'm kind of being forced into it because I hired a marketing person to help me.
Good.
And so they're like, hey, I need this, this, and this, and you got to get me that by this date. And so I'm like, okay, I almost need somebody to hold my hand because I'm stuck in like MySpace land. Yep. I'm 38. Like 2008 was like the last time I really like learned like the latest and crispest social media techniques. So like the reels and like these TikToks and all this stuff like is definitely foreign. I'm feeling my age on that. So I think it's forcing me to do that. And I'm finally reaching out to some people that are younger to help me.
I love it. I'm right there with you. We chat a little bit, as far as, this podcast, right?
Mhm.
Before it was called Agent Spotlight,
Yeah,
I ran into being inconsistent with it, brought
right.
it back this year, but I brought it back with the idea that I have a digital marketing virtual assistant, and
Mhm.
that's who I'm accountable to.
Right.
Every day he's on me for
Who's
a
coming?
template.
Meetings.
Yep,
Yeah.
a video, doing these, right? So I think you're right, and I think that's where a lot of us struggle. I mean, not just digital marketing or
Right.
video, but
Sure.
leads, open houses, hitting
Absolutely.
your SOI. Are you prospecting today?
Consistency.
Not
It's hard.
prospecting.
It's hard to get up every single day and force yourself to work. We talk about, I mean, Rick, our broker, talks about like just like practicing, like give yourself a week, just do it for a week. Don't overstress yourself. Like, do those things for a few days, see how it feels, see what it does for you, try to practice it, and like, because it is hard. It is hard, and sometimes those no's and the things that bring you down can really bring you down.
Yeah.
And I'm not immune to that either. So we're all human, and so I think just any way that you can try to stay engaged is really important. And like if you have a little bit of marketing dollars, sometimes it is good to invest it in somebody to help keep you on track, like you said.
Have you started doing any videos yet?
So I just made my first reel this weekend, and
All
I
right.
based on my cat, so I'm just practicing low key right now. But my first video, my first reel for real estate is going to be. I've got 3 big listings coming up this month, and I'm going to start with those. So I'll tag you in one. I'll be like, look, John, I did it.
I was gonna say, when you're comfortable, I'm gonna give you a challenge. And
Okay.
when I was in Nashville, this would have
Mhm.
been earlier this year, I
Uh-huh.
think April, maybe March, April, anyways. I was at a conference for virtual assistants, and
Mhm.
one of the speakers there challenged everyone to do 30 days Instagram live straight, same time every single day for 30 days. Now, I didn't make it to 30 days,
Didn't
but I
you?
made it to like day 24, 25,
Well, what did
26,
you talk about, huh?
anything. So for me, day one, what I did was I went Instagram live, and I ended up pulling, you can pull like other people in. So then
Sure.
like I
Yeah.
brought someone in that I saw that was watching, and then they became live with me. So it kind of
Oh,
like
cool.
broke the ice with me.
Oh,
So
that's cool. So it
if
became
you
like
weren't,
kind of like a I don't know, like a podcast like this
yeah,
almost.
yeah, but I think we talked for like, I don't know, 4 minutes.
Right.
Nothing crazy, but it was just breaking the ice. And then
Right.
it got easier and easier and easier and
Right.
easier and easier. So
We talked about the practicing something. And that's
yeah,
kind of what I need. I do good with challenges and like small snippets of things and seeing if I can like accomplish that. Because it does
yeah.
get overwhelming. It gets overwhelming to think about it, doing it every day for the rest of your life.
Well, and we all overthink it, right? So, for
Mhm.
example, um, you know, I do a clubhouse room in the morning. One of my
Right.
content pieces is a takeaway from the call, right? Of something within that hour-long conversation.
Hmm.
You're around newer agents or new
Hmm.
agents all the time. I'm around newer agents, and we deal with questions, and that's our content. We just
Right.
overthink it. We don't think it's valuable. So
Right.
that way, so
Right.
we don't post it, right? So every day you could literally do a content piece. Now, again, depends on if you're targeting buyers, sellers, or agents, right? Depending
Sure.
on
Yeah.
what you're looking
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
But you could spin that conversation or that question any way you want, and that becomes a content piece for you. And it doesn't have to be 10 minutes long, 30 minutes long. It could
15
literally, some of my
minutes.
videos are 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
So I challenge you that when you
Of the
get
interest
comfortable.
rate or something, some current event, whatever. Yeah. I have a meeting every week, with my mentees. I could bust it out then. I don't
Yep.
know.
Hey,
So
one takeaway, right? So I challenge you to do
I
to do
love that.
something.
Thanks, John. I
If
will.
you need my help with that first one, let me know.
Okay. Sounds good.
On the investment side, are you thinking more buy and hold or flip
Yeah,
or
I think so. I think I would like to buy and hold, maybe get a portfolio together for
yeah,
long-term investment, diversification later on down the road.
yeah. See, like for me, it goes back to like personality. It's so weird. I'm a very patient person, but like buy and holds, uh, it has
I'm
no
not
interest in
patient.
me.
I am not a patient person at all. Like, I'm like, the second I see something, I want it right then. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do to get
So
it?
it's interesting that you like the buy and hold concepts.
I
Like
know.
for me,
Well,
I'm
it's
more
because
like,
but I think it goes back to that question, like, what problem am I solving, right? And
yeah,
mine is more of a thinking of like a retirement thing.
yeah,
I'm not thinking of like money in my pocket right now. I'm almost thinking of like, okay, I just want to have an asset later in life, right? So that's kind of the reason I would do it.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, there's no right way, right?
No, and there's a million ways to do it. Yeah.
One of the things that I'm getting into or starting to get into is Airbnb,
I love
and
that. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of is both, but a little bit more risky.
But again, a little bit more risky, especially with some of the new legislation that's coming into play, right?
Yeah,
Like, what
yeah,
will that mean? And could it affect current ones and the existing HOAs that they're in, So it's like, I thought about that. And then I had a conversation with somebody about that. And I was like, right, darn it. So I know I thought about them all, but who knows what I'll end up doing.
yeah. No, hey, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So 5 years, big
Yeah.
goals.
Well, no, like I said, I think in 5 years, I would like to start a team. I would like to, do that. I would, and, have a specific purpose of having the buyer's agents, like you said, having the admin for the team and, structuring it in a way that makes sense for everybody. So yeah, I think, that would probably be the goal.
What do you think you need to do to start that process, to get that in place?
Well, I think that definitely business plan, number one, get that puppy going. Definitely have the business plan and all the objectives lined out. And then, the big thing is obviously the people, making sure you got the right people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that'll be the key. So
That's awesome. I mean, at some point, right? Like most of us don't want to sell when we're,
right.
85 years old, and
Exactly.
kids are getting older, and you want more freedom, more time.
Yeah.
And I tell agents this all the time. I don't care what anyone says. You can't do it all.
Right. And I love my relationships with my clients, love them. But there's so many things that I do throughout the day that have nothing to do with that, that I can find someone to do it for me, or with me. I should say with me, not for me,
I mean, whether it's the paperwork stuff, whether like for example,
homes, whatever,
Oliver on our team, he helps me a ton with showings. I don't do a lot of sales anymore. He does a lot of my showings for me.
What's his last name?
Goodburn.
Okay.
Yeah. And, my clients don't skip a beat. Here's how I look at it. I'm training the agents on my team to do it a certain way. I'm going to trust that they're going to, provide the service.
Again, know me, like me, trust me. If somebody truly trusts you, they're going to trust the people that you bring around you too. So
yeah. No, that's awesome. Emily, I know we're, just a couple minutes into this podcast, so I want to be respectful of your time today. But I always end our podcast with this very last question. It's, if you could give one piece of advice that you wish you had, or just a piece of advice, to anyone either in this business, thinking about building a team, someone that's established, what would that be?
Yeah, no, I really, I think we've touched on it like throughout the whole podcast, but I think something that's really big is you really have to have a mentor. You just do, whatever you're doing, like having someone to kind of show you the ropes is huge. And I think that goes not only with just like the selling aspect of things, but also like the business aspect of things and setting up your business. Yes, I had a great mentor in my sales training, but I didn't necessarily have one for my business, starting my business. And that created, headaches for me financially at the end of the year, for tax season. Thankfully, I am now free and clear of all of that. But, it did follow me around for a few years, like trying to just pay those taxes off that I hadn't saved. So I think it's really important to have a mentor, not only teaching you how to sell, but also teaching you how to run your business. Because it is a business. It's not a hobby. It's a business. And you've got to treat it like a business.
And it's so funny, obviously I'm a little biased. I coach agents. I mentor agents. Obviously there's a difference, in my opinion, between the two. But, everything else in our lives, typically we go and we get a personal trainer, right? We do, like, we want to start eating healthy, whether it may not be a direct mentor, but it's like, hello,
we're going to go buy books or something. Yeah.
So, in real estate, it's the same thing. Like, and here's the thing that I tell tell agents, it doesn't have to be, in my opinion, a direct correlation of I'm hiring you to bring me X deals.
Right.
It could be I'm hiring you and X deals is a part of it. You may hit that goal, not hit that goal, but also who are the people around that you now are going to be connected with because of this.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a ton of more opportunities opened up to me over the last year and a half because I now have a coach because of the people that he has brought around me. Right.
And or the methods that they're teaching you to find those people, right? Or whatever it is, right? So I completely agree. Yeah, the mentor is so important for so many reasons. It's not just about how to sell a house. There's so many facets to having someone help guide you.
Yep. And I honestly think that's one of the things that our industry, obviously those that know me hear me say all the time, I think our industry is broken. I think the whole model is broken.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things where I wish that either the board or the division would spend the dollars to bring in those people to, and if they are, great.
The boundaries for entry into our profession are extremely low.
Yeah.
The degree in which, I see professionalism vary is very high. You're absolutely right. I think that's also why such a small percentage of us actually, continue with this after so many years and are successful. Because there isn't like a good structure to it when it comes to entering the industry.
But I mean, someone like yourself, you had the sales and in the background. It was just from a new build. You took those principles and practices and you applied it to real estate.
Absolutely.
For me, I got lucky. I had the mentor who took me under his wing and said, "Okay, you're following me around, and here's what we're doing."
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I think people need that. I think it's 100%. What everybody needs. Whether it's 2 months or 6 months or a year, you need it for some period of time to really give you an understanding of what this business is about.
I agree. Emily, thank you so much. Those that have watched, her phone number has been scrolling at the bottom of the video. If you are an agent and you connected with Emily and her story and you want to reach out to just ask questions, feel free to give her a call, shoot her a text. If you're someone that's looking to buy or sell up in Delaware or anywhere in Central Ohio, and you connected with Emily, give her a call. But Emily, those that are listening in, what's the best phone number for you?
Yeah, it's 614-425-5731. And I bet my daughter says I just said that in my telephone voice. So.
Is it, Mommy, you're talking in telephone voice?
Exactly. 614-425-5731.
That's awesome. Emily, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, John. It was good to see you.
Good seeing you. Talk to you soon.